All right. So a few weeks ago, I did a video on the diagnosis of misbehavior that will help you in correcting misbehaviors or in changing inappropriate characters in your children. And some persons came inbox to ask me how they can go about it. But before then, I am Faith Benjamin, sharing positive parenting strategies. Now, if you want to carry out a diagnosis of misbehaviors, there are simple steps you can do. Number one is to find out if that behavior is actually a misbehavior. Because there are certain times I get parents call me and they say, my child misbehaves. This my son is so stubborn. It's usually boys. So this my son is so stubborn. It is where you tell him not to go. That is where he will go. When I put this one there, he will go there and destroy it. When I do this, and at the end of the day, you now ask, Madam, how old is this your child? She'll say, my child, it will be 2 in December. And then you're wondering, this child is just a year and 10 months. So you find out that it is absolutely normal for that child to behave that way. Children in that age bracket are usually hyperactive and can hardly sit still. All right. So find out if that is an age appropriate behavior so that you can calm down and, give yourself rest. Number two is to try to find out after you have determined that that is age appropriate, it is not age appropriate. Number two is to find out when that behavior actually started. Try as much as possible to think back. When did my child start getting aggressive? Was it when we changed his school? Was it when he entered SS2? Was it when these people moved into the compound? Was it when I started letting him go for extra lessons? Try as much as possible to find out when. When you do that, it will help you to pinpoint where that particular issue is coming from. Number three is to find out what the triggers are. All right, what triggers my child? Is my child stubborn? Sometimes you send children on an errand and they don't want to go, they delay, or the child begins to talk back. You find out that what are the triggers? Is it when my child is watching a particular movie series or a particular cartoon and I tell him to go and get me a cup of water and he begins to misbehave? Is it when food is delayed and I tell my child to do something and it's sluggish? Find out what are the triggers. You know your child, you know your family dynamics. You'll be able to tell what triggers this particular behavior. Sometimes it may require you to sit down, take a piece of paper and write. Other times it may not even be as quickly as you want it. You diagnosing the misbehavior sometimes may take you as long as 2 weeks, all right? So you really have to be patient about it. When you do all this, you know the when, the why. It will give you an idea of what the problem is. And as much as possible, try to, like I always tell parents before then, like I always tell parents that every misbehavior, a lot of times, is a pointer to an underlying issue. So if you are a parent that just like to carry cane and flog your children, child misbehave and you bring out the cane, what you'll end up doing is you'll put an end to that particular misbehavior. But if there's an underlying problem, the child will display it in another way because that particular misbehavior is just a symptom, like the headache of the malaria that is disturbing the child. So if you give the child paracetamol, meaning you just flog the child, you will treat the headache, but the fever is still there, the stomach ache is still there, the nausea is still there, all right, because you really need to treat the malaria and not just the symptoms. So a lot of times misbehaviors are symptoms. So when you beat your child for that particular misbehavior, you have treated the symptom. The main problem is still there. So as parents, try as much as possible to find out the root cause of misbehaviors and pull it out completely. When you continue to do this for every misbehavior that your child, begins to display, over time, your children by themselves will begin to self-regulate. They'll begin to think by themselves before they act. So I hope this is helpful to one or two persons out there. Thank you.